like people who were here last time on this side, and people I see you for the first time. So that was really interesting, and I was trying to connect with what I experienced on my way from London to here. I had quite a headache this night for about 3 hours, from 3 to 6. And in this headache, I had an image of something coming to two halves. So it was really interesting. There was a little light in between. So it was almost as if headache wanted me to see something was being created. And when I saw this image, actually a little bit later, the headache disappeared. But of course, on the outer side, it was because maybe I have drank some wine, which was. But there is always an inner connection, and I believe in things happening before the seminar. And I think I was getting ready for something that we want to work with in this seminar today and tomorrow. We have a very interesting theme. As you know, mothers and fathers, and I would like to work not only with our personal mothers and fathers, because I believe, and as I work in psychotherapy and psychoanalysis, that these are very complex issues, and that in fact we have different mothers and fathers. Of course, we have our personal mothers and fathers, but then we also have other figures, and they all develop in us a certain sense of our parents, of our mothers and fathers. And even if we don't have children, some of us don't have children, we still have our parents, and we still have our expectations. And in psychoanalysis, we talk about succession of figures. There is not only mother and father, there is also caretaker, there are grandparents, there are people in the kindergarten, of course there are teachers, maybe there is a priest, there is a sport trainer, and then there are also siblings who can be younger or older, which is really specific, very specific dynamic. And then of course we also find ourselves being parents, not only being parents, but also parenting in other ways. It's when we do things, we develop things, we want to look after things, we want to nurture things, we want to give them structure, and so in the end that something could come to a shape. So I would like to, in this seminar, work psychoanalytically. I'm a Jungian psychoanalyst. So in Jungian analysis we work with kind of themes which cluster around the parental figures. There are memories, experiences, according to which we function, and whatever we experience, it's something is written within our consciousness. So we have a set of experiences which have their own power. As you know, and many of you, most of you deal with astrology, that we are not blank sheets of paper when we are born. We have to create our world, and parents help us to some extent. But on the other hand, as you see from astrology, that we have an inner set of expectations, and that not one child is the same as the other. So we have different kinds of experiences which all come along with different astrological positions, and that although two children have the same parents, and they may even be twins, they perceive their parents and the other figures who take care of them in a very different way. As is very common in families, you know, one child. There are common themes in family, and we will be dealing with them more tomorrow, but generally, two siblings experience the same parents, usually in a different way. This difference can be more or less pronounced, but it is always there. So, my experience with psychological astrology has taught me that sometimes I believe the astrological chart more than what the person tells me in the initial interview. As Carl Gustav Jung has shown, astrology is a map of the unconscious constellations that we are born with. They are archetypal patterns which are like an inborn matrix for the structure of the psyche. So, to some extent, we have, on the one hand, we have the astrological model. We could see astrologically why a certain child develops a negative mother complex. But then we also have reality, and we have parents' charts, and we have different expectations of the parents. So it will be interesting in this weekend when we study these constellations and we see how the two models come together. I will be getting in detail a little bit later. After this introduction, I would just like to focus your attention on today's charts of the seminar. And it is no coincidence that we are in the sports center, because we have Mars on the ascendant, which is a sports environment. And I hope the atmosphere gets warmer, because I think at the moment we still don't know each other, and also on the outer level is a little bit colder inside, but let's hope, you know, it gets warmer. And of course we have a Uranus, we have a T-square with Uranus, Moon Uranus, and I think that this is the code that we feel at the moment, that we will have to overcome. Yeah, I feel a little bit cold in my head. And we have Moon in Libra. When I was traveling to Belgium with the train, I have seen people in the train. I couldn't see what they looked like, but they looked like nice people. And I think this is what Belgium is a Libra, yeah? And today we have Moon in Libra. And calm, a feeling of calmness I also can experience. But then I also heard that you have Moon in Taurus, in the Belgian chart. And I'm sure you like to eat. And we are in a very nice restaurant, it looks like. But I have a little problem if you eat during the seminars, because I get my saliva here and I cannot speak anymore. So even if I see, you know, some good drink, but I will bear with drinks, okay? Let's make a compromise, I'm a Libra too. But if we can maybe eat during the break, is that okay? Because it will make our work so much easier. Okay. So I was talking about this T-square, and we have Pluto on the top of this T-square. It's in the 4th house, of course, and we will be digging into the material of the parental psyche. This Pluto in Capricorn has been giving us so many gifts. It is called different aspects of crisis, you know.
a special gift, if I can say a little bit ironically, but it is also true in a way. As Pluto, as Pluto entered Capricorn a few years ago, I think it was in 2009. The crisis. Yeah, but it was in 2009 already a little bit, and went down. And so we had the start of this crisis, and we thought, okay, this Capricorn, it is economic crisis, it will pass. We will give some money to the banks, to the bank, mother will have the money, and everything will be okay. Now it looks like this is deepening, and the most interesting thing about this crisis is that it stopped being only economical. It started to be in every aspect. It started to be a moral crisis. And so many people are asking themselves, what is good, what is not good? Do we have to write new laws? Do we have to do new rules? You see what this Pluto in Capricorn is about. It's about transforming what we think is right, and what we think is socially acceptable, and what we think is supposed to be a perfect social order. And at the moment, governments are obsessed with constructing a new golden order. The golden rule with the deficit and all that is just an expression, of Capricorn. Very deep level, Capricorn deals with the golden age. It's the Chronos myth, Chronos and the golden age. It's where people are in a almost perfect society. They don't have to work much. Everybody has money, but there is no progress. So there is again a new facet of this myth coming up. We will just sort out our banks. We will just sort out our laws, and that's it. Then we have milk and honey again. Yeah. So it is this fantasy. But maybe there is something else going on. And I think the process of getting so anxious and rethinking the social rules, the economic rules, the way we relate to each other as well. Because Capricorn is also the structure everywhere, in society, in the family, in working environment. So many, I don't know how it's in Belgium, but in some places, so many companies have collapsed, and new companies are being created, and people have to do developments. They have to restructure their thinking. They have to find new ways. They have to find new structure. Start thinking in other terms. Capricorn is so difficult because it wants to have it done for eternity. So the Capricorn has a fantasy. If I just find the right formula, then everything will be okay. But of course it will not. Life is never like that. And then we have this. I just want you to see the constellations. We have Uranus in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn. This square is going to go on for probably at least 5 more years. And it is a very powerful square. It is also the square which was there in the last economic crisis in 1930, which led to the Second World War. Well, unfortunately, we don't have Second World War yet, or Third World War yet, but we have revolutions. We have revolutions for example, in Arab countries. And Uranus in Aries is an idea about freedom, isn't it? It's how to move on unconditionally, how to find a new way, how to get out of something that oppresses you. So you see, it is going on very powerfully. So this energy between old structure and individual development is in the air, and it is being connected with our moon. moon is in the first or second house. So we have this pattern. Because if we come to our topic, this means that family, every family is both a structure that gives safety, the moon, also the structure that is almost like a prison so many times, because we are full of negative emotions within the family, especially when we cannot separate. And there is individual way, we have tendency in areas. So we want to be individuals, yet we are on the other hand connected to our family. We are almost, I mean, I will dramatize a little bit, but we are almost the slaves of the family unconscious. And those of you who work with family, you know how powerful these things can be, and how difficult we get to be aware that something, that we are somehow caught up in the family dynamics, that we think we are individuals, yet we are defeated. We are defeated again because we want to be different from our parents. And then we realize again and again that our parents are actually ourselves. And of course we rebel. You know, some people rebel more, some people rebel less. But generally during the first half of life we want to be different from our parents. And then we start to acknowledge that first it is like a defeat. Oh no, I'm so much like my father, I'm so much like my mother. I have the same relationships as I had with the mother. And there is almost a shift in awareness that we have to do, that we have to start to accept that this is ourselves. So, and then separation is possible. So we have this fantasy quite often in adolescence and in young adulthood that we want to be different, which would be Uranus. And then in the second part of life, we start to accept what is there. And then we really become individuals. So it's really interesting if you think about your own way, how you saw parents and your individuality, your brothers and sisters, where are you now, who you want to be, and how does it relate to your parents. We also have